What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is another special episode, No Pad, No Pencil. I got my man O. Go on, introduce yourself, baby.
My name is Omar Jordan, former Baltimore Raven, Carolina Panther, Buffalo Bill, and I used to work in education. So we here. That's who I am.
Okay, we got a special guest, Tina. Go on, introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do for a living.
Hello, my name is Tina Scott, and I am an educator. I've been in the system for 20 years.
Okay, this is a special episode. What are y'all thoughts on schools celebrating Pride? Tina, go ahead and tell everybody your story.
All right, so we having a situation that's occurring now where, they're trying to, not saying every school, because every school is different. So I'm going to start with that. But, certain administration, they want to push the agenda with Pride. Now, my thing is, one, did you get parent consent with this? Two, who authorized you to do this? Because let's be honest, everything in the school system, you have to ask for permission from the higher ups. So I feel as though that the person that I was working under, she didn't get that authorization. And also I felt like when you're doing something like that, because we had an instance where they wanted to introduce that into the school setting, you didn't get parent permission to do so. So I'm just feeling like, okay, how are we going to do this the proper way if we don't have the resources just to teach basic things?
Well, I mean, Miss Tina, she knocked it right out the park. She couldn't have said it no better. However, I'll go a little further and say, I think we passed the point of an agenda. It's now an indoctrination.
Exactly.
And if any conqueror, I'll quote Adolf Hitler. I know it's unpopular when he basically said and why he wanted the Hitler youth and the German youth. And he said basically, if you could control the youth and if you could get them while they're young, you could control the future of the state and you control the future of the nation. So anytime you're trying to indoctrinate somebody, anytime you're trying to change thought, see, the adults are already, you can't educate adults in that regard. You can't persuade adults. However, when you got children, when you indoctrinate them and when you give them a train of thought, if it was an agenda, they would pretty much put it in the media. They would pretty much put it in what they watch and what they, and what they partake in. But this is their education system. This is something that they're going to be learning, and the thing is, it's like it's forced down their throat because it's like what Ms. Tina said, they didn't get any parental consent. They didn't get no consent from the higher ups. And we all know 9 times out of 10, if they would have got parental consent or if they would have asked the parents first, you knew the parents was going to say, hell no.
Miss Tina, what was the time frame of this going on? How many days did the parents have to sign the consent forms?
Less than 24 hours.
So it was an agenda at hand.
Not only was the agenda at hand, this is I don't want to say it's a touchy topic, but I just felt like out of respect of the parents, you let them know. And because the respect wasn't there, you have a whole bunch of hostile parents because they did come up to the school and they showed out. So that was the issue. They showed out. So it's one of those things where as though, okay, you're giving these people less than 24 hours notice. And some people, they don't check their children's book bags every day. They don't check those online messaging systems. So now you have some people who still don't know what happened in the school that day.
Hey, Miss Tina, what is the demographic of the school? Is it?
So it's mainly, I want to say 90% Black and brown.
Okay.
And I honestly believe that if the school was catering to all non-African American and non-Hispanic children, this would have never occurred. I'm going to be honest with you, because those people don't play with their children.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, the kind of piggyback off what Ms. Tina said is basically the reason why, they wouldn't have pulled that off with any other parents, because they have the resources to fight it.
Exactly.
You know,
And also, the man
yeah,
not in the household, so it's
right.
easy to do.
Right. And you got those, let's just say if you got well-to-do parents, whether if they white or any color, if they're well-to-do and they know some people in higher places, they're going to get in touch with their city councilman. They're going to get in touch with the school board. They probably know somebody on the school board. They're going to get in touch with the superintendent and say, hey, we got X, Y, and Z going on with my child's school now. Hey, buddy, I golf with you, or I go to church with you with the
Right.
superintendent, I go, or we in the same, you know what I'm saying, social club with the school board members, the head of the school board, whatever. So, hey, buddy, if you let this go down, you know what I'm saying? See, but the main thing, you know, here's my thing with the LGBT community when it comes to this stuff, especially how they try to pimp, and I don't care. You know, they try to pimp and bully black folks, okay? Because number one, they know black folks are under-resourced, okay?
Exactly.
Two, they know black folks, you know what I'm saying, it's like it's basically poor. So, and we don't have a backing, okay? Because they know, so they go gangster their way amongst us. And then number two and number three, and most importantly, the reason why they push their indoctrination and agenda along on black people, because they know the world gets its social cues socially from black people in America.
But in hindsight too, also with that, everybody comes to us because we supposed to include everyone else because our struggle, but we never get no help. We never get any help with our interests. Everybody think they can just, like you say, piggyback off of us. But another thing, a child from 4 to 10 should not have this in their curriculum. It's just too young. Now, I agree. In middle school, sex education, start from the 6th grade to high school, you can teach it. Because that's when you start to learn about yourself. But 4 to 10, no, man. That's way too young.
You're stripping their innocence, man. You know, I mean, 4 to 10, you just learning the basics about life, you know, animals and how certain animals and what animals eat this, and you're just learning the basics of life.
My thing is, you want to shelter kids from one thing. You want to shelter them for prayer and religion, but you want to open them up to that. That's no different from religion. Mm-hmm. If you're going to open those doors up, you got to open the doors up for religion, because what's the difference?
Exactly.
But then also too, instead of teaching the children about pride, let's teach them about having pride in themselves. Making sure your face clean, making sure your nose white. You know, if making sure you have lotion on your body, and not for the little babies, but for those ones that's in 2nd grade on up, looking at yourself in the mirror. Is your hair brushed? Is your teeth clean? You know, I feel like we need to start with the foundation first before we start introducing other things. Because I feel like we skipping past a whole bunch of other stuff. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the school system can barely teach Black history correctly and Hispanic history. How are we gonna teach them anything else?
You basically can't. I mean, because it's like you basically, you know what I'm saying, trying to deter them away from who they are and their true identity. And let's just be honest, you know, it's a racist indoctrination, because again, you bullying the poor, okay?
Right.
And you know, okay, and the reason why I say this is a racist indoctrination, because let's just be honest, these are the white LGBT that's pulling this off, okay? And let's be honest, if you teach them the history on how or who Black people are, you will understand how you had those in the white LGBT in the 60s in the Jim Crow era that caused harm amongst Black people, starting with J. Edgar Hoover, who was LGBT, you know, and he was responsible for the deaths of Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and the COINTELPRO amongst the Black Panther Party, and he was LGBT, okay?
My thing is, where do you start from? You can't teach the transgender kid like the queer kid. So how do you, as a teacher, where do you start from? What curriculum is it for y'all to start from teaching that?
We have nothing to start from that I've seen. We have nothing. And I feel like, you know, because it's so many with that community, it's so many groups within a group. So you got
Exactly.
the transgender group, then you have the binary group where they don't, I feel like I could be getting this wrong, they don't identify as man or woman. It's just too much. It's really too much. It's too much for me to wrap my head around. Now somebody else they can probably teach the kids something like this, and it goes over smoothly, but we don't have a foundation to start from. And I honestly feel like, let's stick with the basics. Let's put this to the side and let's really focus on the kids reading and writing, because guess what? They're going to need this in the future. Because we have so many kids that are not reading on grade level, who can't write on grade level, who pretty much they can't even comprehend. So if they can't comprehend basic stuff, how can they comprehend something as complex as that?
But see, it's the agenda at hand, though. They want these kids over sexualized. Because you know what's the grand scheme of this? They're trying to make pedophilia normal. That's why they're getting these babies young.
Bingo.
That's the key. You want overly sex 5 to 10-year-olds. So when they get in middle school, they're open and accessible to everything.
Bingo.
That's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, Tavon, you knocked it out of the park, man. I mean, because, and now if you look at it, I think it was over the last 4 or 5 years, they're trying to basically trying to make pedophilia legal. Okay.
Exactly.
Where you got it's a YouTube video. I forgot the name of it. You can actually just Google like justification of pedophilia. You actually have a grown woman, right? I think she was like from the UK or something like that. She was sitting up there trying to justify pedophilia behavior, saying like they're minorities too, like that type of thing. And it's just like what Miss Tina said. I'll tell you what that, pretty much what it is. The kids don't know how to read and write yet. They can barely learn school curriculum in the basics. However, I'm going to quote the late Dr. Frances Wellesley, where she basically said it's just sexual confusion. Okay. Exactly. Anytime, because let's be honest with ourselves. A kid between those ages in elementary and stuff like that, we are identifying with who we are as people. Okay. Rather, if we're man, woman, girl, boy, white, black, Hispanic, whatever. However, they don't even want us to identify as ourselves racially, culturally, and what academic level that we on. But before all that, they want to know, or pretty much just put it in us, like what sexual identity that we have. Like, how you gonna try to shoehorn something like that in? That's just only to confuse the mind.
We have a question in the chat. They said that's why I believe part of the overturn of Roe versus Wade is so they can make a lot of sick stuff known. I can agree with that too.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you this about Roe v. Wade. See, a lot of people don't know this. You do know that Roe v. Wade was built on a lie, because it was just when it like Jane, what was that woman name? Something like Jane Roe versus the what I think her rapist or whatever like that. Well, remember that lawyer Gloria Allred? They basically Jane Roe basically doctored up a story that she was gang raped and one of her rapists was a black dude, and then they come to find out years ago that wasn't even true.
Oh shit!
Okay? Wow. But the Roe v. Wade situation was, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna take you back a little bit. The reason why they overturned it is to stop white women from aborting white babies. Okay.
I said that yesterday. If
you read the book Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg, he wrote this book in like the mid to late 80s. He was a former he worked in the Nixon administration. He worked in the Nixon cabinet.
Right.
Back then, they was talking about the fear of less white babies being born into the world. And then if you really look at it, you have more. The reason why they've been trying for years, for decades, to overturn abortion is to stop white women from aborting babies. They ain't got nothing to do with black women aborting babies, because we all know even with this gay, they trying to figure out a way to get us to figure out ways for us not to reproduce ourselves. So they could give a damn about black people aborting ourselves and stuff like that. They've been trying to exterminate us, but it's stop white women from aborting.
And honestly, white fertility is at an all-time low. Yeah. That's why you see a lot of white males with other races.
Right.
Because the white woman is not having babies.
And the white numbers are dwindling. Like if you look at the research, like I think the average, like I think it was something like the average like white male is like almost 58, to whereas the black male is like 28, 29. So
2044 right around the corner. That's why they passing these laws, man.
So yeah.
But honestly, it's back to the subject at hand. Parents gotta be more involved with their kids in the PTA. It has to, because that principal almost pulled it off.
Hold up. But let's stop right there. All schools don't have a PTA.
Oh, they don't?
Yes, all schools do not have a PTA. They're supposed to, but they don't. Yeah. So if you don't have anybody to undermine what you're saying, and you know your staff is too afraid to, then you're going to get away with murder. You can do whatever you want.
So did the principal go rogue, or she had her own agenda from North Avenue?
Well, no, see, it didn't come from her. It came up from the idea came from another staff member.
Okay.
Oh, and they was like, oh, here's the administrator. Oh, that's a great idea. And that's
so
how we train, because that person is in that lifestyle.
But she didn't run past our superiors. The principal got to have somebody to go over top of her to get approval of that.
They do, but who knows? We don't know if it was approved or not. I'm quite sure it wasn't. Because if it was approved, those letters would have been came out.
Exactly.
Somebody got their pockets lined up too. So
yeah,
somebody got paid too.
This is my thing, and I don't want to throw the parents under the bus, but you have to know what's going on in your child's school. You are not that busy where you just can't come up there at least maybe once a month or once every other month. You should have direct communication with the teachers. You should have a rapport with those people so you can know what's going on in your child's school. Period.
I agree. I mean,
you know, and the sad part about it is the only way you hear from them is if you take the child's cell phone. You took my cell phone. Everybody come up to school. Little Dante graduate. Little Dante's supposed to graduate, but he don't have the grades to graduate. But you won't come up here and fuss so he can graduate.
The last day of school.
Yeah, the last day of school. Make it make sense. I remember, I think this was about maybe 16 years ago. I had a little girl. Never met her mother, not one time. Her mother shows up graduation day. And I said, the whole time I've been seeing the grandparents, and she came up there like the proud mother to be. And I said, this is absolutely disgusting that I have never met you, not even on the first day of school. So the parents have to do better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know it. And listen, I remember working in the school system. I think one of the saddest things I used to see. Now, you might remember when we was coming up to school, like, remember them last 2-3 days we ain't have to come to school and our parents didn't make us come, you know, so we could just, you know, not go to the last 3 days of school. Yeah, because our grades are already in. We already passed. We ain't got no makeup work to do. So if our parents was like, okay, if you ain't got to go to school, I mean, if everything is good, then you start your summer about 2-3 days early. Well, I mean, one of the saddest things I seen, like some of these parents was like, their kids like already done passed is determined that they're moving on. But the last 2-3 days of school, they still sending these jokers to school. Why? Because that's 3 or 2-3 more days that they ain't at home eating up the food, running up the light bill. And that's 2-3 more days where they can get fed and somebody can babysit them.
Basically, it's school and daycare, as we can see.
Pretty much.
COVID showed everybody, I don't care if you're white, black, middle class, rich or poor, it's daycare.
Yeah. So to Tina's point, when she say that these parents got to do better, and see, that's what whoever is pushing this indoctrination / agenda, they doing they research and saying, wait a minute, these parents don't be watching their kids anyway. So, hey, let's sneak this in because this ain't no parental discretion advised anyway. That's why they gangster it in 24 hours and say, hey, sign this waiver, to where they ain't got time to look over, no time to investigate it. And if they did, the parents are too busy Let's just be real. I'm gonna keep it a buck. These parents are too busy doing what they doing them, or watching what's on the episode of what's love and hop and basketball, whatever. So they ain't got, oh, let me sign this, get out my face. You know what I'm saying? That's some of their attitude.
So basically, they're allowing the kids to be test dummies, man.
Oh, of course, in areas of high poverty. You know, think about it. How many high poverty areas has a man present? Has the where is the father in all of this? See, it starts with the head, and the man's supposed to be the head.
Right.
Think about it. If you think about all the school systems around, the majority of the staff is female.
Exactly. Not just female, white female.
White female, because it's not, I'm gonna tell you, it's not too many. It's a lot of African American teachers out there, but we are outnumbered by our white colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah. And see, people don't understand, like, that's the part of the apartheid state. You know, it ain't just apartheid and what's going on in law enforcement, what's going on the street. You got medical apartheid and you got educational apartheid. Okay. And then again, look at this indoctrination that they putting in on these kids. They're already like, okay, anybody that's going to educate me have to have a white face on it. You know, right. Any truth that I have to, it has to be some type of truth because a white face is telling me, you know. And the thing of it is, and these white folks, and I hate to say it because I've worked with them, because a lot of them we had this Teachers of America program. So a lot of these white folks, they be going in and teaching in these black neighborhoods and black schools. They ain't so disingenuous. They just go in there to get paid off a certain amount of their student loan debt.
It's just a job for them.
It's a job for them, and then it beefs up their, you know what I'm saying, their resume that here, I work with these Negroes over here, so here, let me get my place as an area superintendent in this next county that I'm going to, you know.
Miss Tina can speak on that because, see, we've been having conversations behind the scene. It's like when a certain white teacher get a certain age and they don't want to deal with that, their husbands will take care of them because it's just something to put on their resume.
Oh, I'm in the school system. You see it all the time. It's just like a lot of white female teachers, and not to discredit the ones that do stay when they're married. Some of them, they just letting time pass until their fiancés or their boyfriends ask to marry them. And once they get married or get pregnant, they're gone. They're gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because that's the goal. Well, let me just do something with myself until somebody proposed to me.
And quote unquote, it looks good on the resume that you're helping poor kids in need.
Yeah.
Of course, you work with these black kids in the worst school districts in whatever city that you living in, like case in point, Baltimore, Maryland. You worked with these poor black kids. So by the time you get to that little lily white school that you've been, or area superintendent, it's going to show that you real well-rounded, that you're so transparent. And, you know, and that's the thing. And that's what they use them for. They use them as a crash. And then I'm going to tell you, like, and you can tell those disingenuous ones, and that, you know, they got a hidden agenda, because they come in on that trying to save the world type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna take it's gonna be a couple. So I'm gonna tell a quick funny story. I worked in one of the worst schools in Charlotte, and then you had this white guy. He basically taught a business and accounting. And this kid would skip class, like he would skip class and sit in his classes, business and accounting and economics. So this white guy was intrigued, like, I can't believe, I'm getting through to these kids. This kid is sitting in my class. I said, let me tell you something. The reason why he's sitting in your class and you allowed him to do that all semester, you just made him a better weed dealer, dummy. He does what? I'm like, yeah, the dude is one of the biggest weed sellers on this campus, dude. And by you letting him sit in your classes for a whole semester, you basically just enhance his business. you done turned him to a storefront owner to damn Elon Musk, dummy.
We got a question here. He says it helps them with their conscience, so when they vote on BS, they can say they did their part. Okay. Yeah, but it do go on the conference. But it's like, why are y'all using these kids? Why are you here if you're not genuinely invested in the child? That's my thing. It's like, why are you here?
Some people just need a job. And let's be honest, the benefits are good. The health insurance is great. So, you have people, they just want to check. And you can tell, look at all across the United States, children are falling behind. They're hiring anybody with a degree can teach.
Yeah.
Anybody. So now we got a group of people who they may have had a degree in maybe psychology. Now they're teaching children. Or they may have had a degree in fashion and they're teaching children reading comprehension. They're teaching children math. So make it make sense. These are not people who went to school and took education the traditional route.
Now, how can a person like that go back and teach the LGBT curriculum when they're not qualified?
Well, I'm going to set the record straight. There is no curriculum. None. So it's just like when the administration was introduced with that idea, they were just going to present it to the children. But this is my thing. What were you actually going to present to them? What were you going to tell them? Because that's not the lifestyle you live.
You know what?
So what are we going to teach these babies?
I tell you what, and they better be glad I ain't in the school system no more, because listen, I will give the whole history of LGBT. I will give the whole history. I would talk to them children about buck breaking, okay, on how they used to rape male slaves, everything, okay. I would tell them the evils of gay people, of the LGBT. I would tell them the evils of the white LGBT, okay. If we're gonna give them one second, hey, like my grandmother said, have truths or lies, okay.
Hey, well, I posted this question up in the chat. One guy said this teach about the celebrities and who's the famous persons in the lifestyle. But I was like, if you're doing that, you're putting shit on shit to these kids.
Because those people have money.
Exactly.
And then also, too, this is my thing. They have commercialized being gay so much where I just feel like a lot of people that come out is not even genuine. Look, we remember a time when people, there was no flag to stand behind. These people, they felt that way in their heart. It was no ifs, ands, or buts. This is how they felt, and you either respected their decision. If you didn't, you moved on. But now it's so commercialized, people just saying one day, oh, I'm gay, just to say they're gay.
Right. And that's how they figured they can teach these kids this, because it's on TV. So let me play devil's advocate. Why can't I teach it when it's on TV 24 hours a day?
You know why? Because on TV, you can monitor what your children watch. You can monitor it. So it's just like, if it's certain shows that you don't want your child to be exposed to, you're not going to allow them to watch it. Now, this is the catch with that. Now, YouTube, we love YouTube, the pieces. Sometimes, the kids watching a little cartoon. One of those commercials might pop up and you be like, oh, hold up, where did that come from?
But I'm going to throw this one at you. I'm a taxpayer and I'm living that lifestyle. Why can't my kid not learn about the LGBTQ community?
Well, the thing is, why didn't we learn about hip hop growing up in the educational curriculum? That was a fad that we was growing up in, and that was something that was commercialized. Okay, we didn't learn. Think about it. We didn't learn. We had to learn about rap music and hip hop. We had to learn, and that was Black people culture, right?
Right.
That was our culture. Okay?
Exactly.
And that was a boom during that time. That was like hip hop was a wave when we was coming up in school, and they did not even dare mention,
because it was no corporate dollars behind it. It was at its raw essence when we got to it. When we started,
it was grassroots. It was pretty much it was authentic. Okay, but we all know this agenda indoctrination. This is not authentic. Everybody know that this is paid. This is corporate money. This is a way to this is an agenda to pretty much indoctrinate young Black children. Okay, so again, Why didn't they didn't want to teach us about what NWA meant about express yourself. Okay.
Right.
They didn't teach us, they didn't give us the meaning, okay, hey, what did you learn from them rappers, poor righteous teachers? Okay.
And honestly, it's the perfect timing because this is the third generation of kids with broken homes. There's no man in the house. So you got women raising these kids. So if the kids see that a man acting a certain, not acting like a man, and he see his mother as the head of the household, what you think he's going to gravitate to if he see that?
Thank you.
They're taking all the masculinity away from us black men.
The warrior class. They basically exterminating the warrior class. And we all know once you exterminate the warrior class,
nothing to be afraid for.
Yeah, the women, the children, and the elderly. That's what's left.
But let's piggyback, and we got to think about the relationships between the man and the woman. And so even if you have two people and they have kids and they are no longer together, the women, not all women, need to stop dangling these kids over the father's heads as if, or if you don't do this, you're not going to see your kids.
Right.
The man has to be present. You need both.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy for somebody to say, well, I can raise kids all by myself. You can, but it's going to be hard.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't teach your son certain things. What if he have an erection or something else is going on with him? He don't want to come to you. He want to talk to his father. He wants to talk to another man that can assist him.
Right.
But psychologically, it's something wrong that we the only race of people that women want to be single and alone. A man's supposed to protect his house, but a lot of these women just don't want men.
Like, really? Stop. You have to be trained to protect your house. And the man has to train another man to protect his house. And like you said, we got 3 generations of people that have an absent father at home. So who's teaching that child how to be a man? Who's teaching them how to be providers and protectors if they've been absent for 30 years?
And I just think it's the mother's job. Like if she can't find a man like she can't be with, then I think she should take the next step, find a brother or an uncle or some male figure in her life. Because let's be honest, the boys are going to measure measure themselves based on the example that's been shown. Okay, like if we don't have a father in the home, okay, we're gonna look to our brother. We might look to our uncle. We might look to we're gonna look to somebody, or like Tavon said, if we get that erection for the first time, okay, then it's somebody we can confide with and say, hey, listen, man, I had a little boner last night. What that mean? Is that a good? Uncle won't tell us. Uncle say, come here, boy, let me holler at you. He gonna put out a cigarette. He gonna be proud, okay?
Your mother can't tell you how I feel to zip your stuff up in your zipper for the first time, you know?
It's just like the lady that I'm with. I told her, like, when the first time her son was experiencing puberty and how he was locking, like keeping the doors closed and he would be moved. I said, listen, he just got home from school. And I used to explain this stuff to her. I said, give him some time to himself. Right. Let him self-reflect, okay? Right. Let him get that off. And then when he get up, he gonna wash himself, and then guess what? He gonna come out mild-mannered and cool. But if you interrupt him, he gonna be pissed off.
Right. Because she don't know once you start, you can't stop. You know?
Right. And then it's like one time she asked me a question like, how was I when I had because he got his first girlfriend, and she asked me, how were you when you had your first? I said about the same age as him, and she was like, well, what did y'all talk about? I said the same stuff you talked about.
Right.
like I'm there to, like, the male. Basically, what I'm saying is the male figure is there to get that reassurance that, hey, everything is gonna be okay. If it's alarming, I say something, because at one point in time I was a boy. Okay, right. If we all understand abnormal boy behavior, and it's vice versa for women, because like I was a single dad and raised a daughter, and I confide with my old lady and say, hey, this is my daughter going through. Is this something to be alarmed about? And she would kind of put me at ease. Nah, I handle it. Bam, 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 bam. You know. So yeah, to Tina's point, yeah, you got to have that 2-parent household back in order. You got to have that. That's way important. That's the part of the revolution, is the nuclear black family.
And honestly, the way that's looking, man, that may take the rest of our life to get together, because this social media is really doing damage to us.
Yeah.
Honest to God.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with my homeboy. His stepdaughter is in a relationship with a dude in California. Only met him twice. She calling this boy her boyfriend. How is this your boyfriend?
Hey.
This social media really has people messed up socially. I met this young lady for the first time Wednesday. I say, hey girl, how you doing? So we were talking, chit-chatting. So I said, nice to meet you. You know, she put her head down and walked past me. Her social skills was terrible. I asked my homeboy. He was like, no, man, fuck that. I'm gonna go back and tell her what you say. He said, Tavon said, nice to meet you. She said, oh, tell Tavon, nice to meet you too. I'm right in front of her. I'm like, yo, you're so socially awkward. You don't know how to have a conversation. It's scary, man.
Because their world is in that tablet. Their world is in the phones. Their world is in that social media, whatever app. You know what I'm saying? That's their world. So they don't know how to do that person-to-person interaction. To everything is basically, I'm talking to you virtually or through a screen or you know, through comments. You know what I'm saying?
This boy about to come to California and move with her. You don't know who behind that computer screen. You don't know if this boy hustling you or not. How do you know it's genuine? That's my beef. How do you know?
Hey, he's genuine.
You think he's genuine?
Oh yeah, he is.
Okay, I mean, my thing is, okay, if you're gonna move to Cal, let's move separate and apart. Let's get 2 separate apartments. Okay, let me get to know you first. Let me get an apartment for about a year or 2. Okay, we can see each other, but let's live separately for about a year. I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know your living habits. I don't know if you the Riverside Strangler. I don't know that.
But see, I'm a hustler. I do everything off of body language. I know when somebody lying to me. I know when somebody bullshit me. Man, I know for a fact I can go behind this computer screen right now and be the best creator writer there is. And lie and remember it. And it's just like, I can't trust nobody like that, man.
Because you know why? We didn't have these devices growing up. Remember when we grew up in our era, it had to be interaction. It had to be physical interaction to understand if this dude faking a flauge and if this person is authentic. Okay, if this person's a real friend or this person's a snake. We had to have physical interaction to see that. To when we brought that homeboy by the house and that mama telling us that woman's intuition when our mama said, hey, I don't know that dude, but it's something about him. You need to stay away from him.
Exactly. But once again, this is the biggest distraction too, because a lot of parents are really out of their kids' life in the house every day, don't know what they're doing because they're too busy on social media.
Their parents themselves, like Miss Tina said. I mean, like, yeah, Miss Tina said, like, basically what she said earlier, she seen the parent one time, and that was for graduation. It's like, what were you at? Like, anything could have been put into your child's head, you know what I'm saying, without your knowing and not no concern and like anything.
We already had it. It was a little kid walking around in the school telling the teacher he wanted to identify as a woman, as a girl, but the parent didn't know. So the teacher is letting everybody call this kid by a girl name, but the parent don't know. The guidance counselor knew. The principal knew, but the parent. What kind of foolishness is this?
And see, this is my thing. Okay, parents, if a parent doesn't bring their child to school for a certain amount of days, they got to go to truancy court. So a parent can get reprimanded by not bringing their kids to school, but it's okay for a child to change their name without the adult being notified. Make that make sense. You're taking the power out of the parents' hands.
Well, it's like I said earlier, because the black parents ain't got the resources to fight it. They're not gonna fight it. First of all, they don't have the time to fight it, nor they have the resources. Again,
look, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
But you got the resources if you could pay $300 for some braids. You got the resources if you could pay $125 for some lashes.
True.
So the money is there.
The priorities then.
Right.
Priorities are way off. So again, but the LGBT, that's why I call them bullies, because they know this, and this is why they prey on the weak. Okay. Again, they don't pull this on white folks. They hell, they don't even pull it. Okay, where they'll pull it on a school system where some sprinkling of Hispanic kids, but if it was just a school system with just straight Hispanics, they ain't gonna pull that stuff, because those Hispanics, they have them as a people. Number one, they have their Catholic, they have their religion with this Catholic. They ain't gonna play that. Okay.
But this school is 70% Hispanic.
Okay.
They tried to pull it off. They damn they did. It's more Hispanic than black.
I guarantee you them Hispanic parents fought back, didn't they?
Oh, they sure did.
There you go. Because see, what them Hispanics understand, they have a people. Okay. They in unison with themselves. Maybe they don't have the resources, but they within unison with themselves to say, oh, hell no, and this goes against my Catholic morals. Okay. See, what we got to understand is that the LGBT don't pull this stuff on other ethnic groups or religious backgrounds because there's recourse. Okay. There's no recourse when they do this, when they pull this type of shit amongst black people. There's no real recourse.
We got a question. It's a hell of a question. Good question. My man said, when you had celebrities, some fight, but when you had people like Wade and Gabrielle Union, you become the bully because of their celebrity.
And see, this is the part that cracked me up about the Wade situation. Like, he identifies himself as a woman, Wade's child, right?
Yeah.
But he's going out with a white boy that could identifies as a girl. That's what I'm saying. The sexual confusion. And then watch this. Wade's son is 10 years old, right?
Oh, he is?
I believe so, yes.
10 years old. So watch this. Name me in any normal household to where we gonna have a 10-year-old boyfriend or girlfriend at the house just chilling.
Probably Will Smith kids. That's it.
Mom and we listen. Our parents didn't play that shit when we was dating in high school. We couldn't even bring. If we was like freshmen in high school, I can imagine. Hey, mom, can my 14-year-old girlfriend come chill on the couch while we watch Video Soul?
Right.
Oh hell no.
Not you know.
Y'all can sit on the porch.
Right, but let alone 10 years old. You in the 5th grade. You talking about some? Oh, you got your boyfriend, girlfriend over at my house? What? That's abnormal in itself. So you basically just sitting there condoning like whatever they got going on sexually.
My man said facts. That's why I didn't like Black Lives Matter tried to mix with the LGBT community. But man, once again, us black people got to accept everybody because, and quote unquote, history has accepted us. So that's how they look at it. If you need something accepted, come to us.
Social cues. Right. They look to get see black people in America, again, the world gets its social cues from us. If we agree to it socially, then it's okay for the rest of the world to accept. But the fact that we're fighting it and like, oh no, this ain't right, because see, they know the morality comes from black people. Okay, like no, see, I don't care what people say. Like we are pretty much the quintessential like moral like people. Okay,
right?
Like we gonna set it straight. Say no, this is illogical right now. We don't do that. Okay, and
see,
white
we the bullshit filth of the world.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly. And so this is one thing that the LGBT community is trying to do, saying they just trying to bully us to accept it. And see, the thing is, it's not that we never accepted it. We just condoned it. We never condemned it. We had gay folks in our church choirs. We had, hell, Richard Pryor was gay. Little Richard, he was gay. We knew these dudes. Luther was gay. We knew that, but them dudes was great at what they did. We didn't, okay. They did, that's their lifestyle, but we ain't gonna hold that against them. Okay.
We got a comment. They said, but we really haven't accepted because we are still demonized. Exactly.
I mean, the thing is, we don't condone it, but we don't condemn them.
Right.
This is my thing. Leave the kids out of it. Let the kids be kids. Let them have fun. Let them play. Just let them enjoy childhood, because you're only gonna get it one time. All that stuff can wait.
It's like, why are you trying to force this on a 4 and 10-year-old? It's not making any sense.
Confusion.
Yeah.
These kids are already confused.
No, but think about it. If you think about it behaviorally, African American boys are always at the top of having behavior problems. So if you take the masculinity, if you take the masculinity from them and they walk around here acting like the girls, you won't have no behavior problems.
That's always
They're not a problem anymore.
It's always going to be a problem because you know why? Some of our environments requires us to be aggressive. You can't take that out of a kid and living in a trap. You're going to get them killed, a bully. You can't do that.
I mean, can you imagine a nation and a state of Black people, man and woman, knowing who they are, just knowing who they are? And it's like they not going to be confused. They know that who they are and who they identify with. It's like, but see, they know that, so they're going to continue to dig down a more of a rabbit hole. We don't know if you're a boy or a girl. We don't know. Before you identify yourself as white and Black, we need to see. I don't know if you're a boy or a girl. Hell, you might have been born a boy, but hell, you might have girl feelings. So let's explore. It's just like it's just like I said. They just trying to wrap them up in a ball of confusion.
You know what? It's like it's layers to keep us from knowing who we really are as people. It's always one layer. It's another layer. It's another layer. Like, God damn.
Right.
And it's working.
Yeah. I mean,
it's working because ain't no man around to check this. But it's also, like I said earlier, in the person that said it in the chat. But it goes back to pedophilia. They're trying to make it legal. Yeah. And it's going to be legal within the next 5 years. Trust me.
It's a racist indoctrination. So, take out critical race theory. Don't tell that Black child about Malcolm X, but tell them about Lil Nas X.
Yep. And that's the first thing they did for Black History Month. I said, of all people, he just came up on the scene 2 seconds ago, and you're going to have Lil Nas X for a Black History program. Make this make sense, y'all.
It's a part of the agenda. Then they get the darkest skinned brother they can find to be that way. You know?
And what's the latest on him? He even said he don't know if he want to be gay no more.
Because he probably was never gay from the jump.
But just like the question the person said in the chat, just like they did in all of our ancient artifacts from Africa. Yeah, because King Tut looked at mighty feminine. You feel me?
Well, they always gonna say, like, because remember, they always gonna try to make it seem like all our activists and all of our heroes and all of our people. Remember, they tried to say that doctor up that lie that said Malcolm X was gay. Okay, they like that. What's that dude that sung that song Classic Man? He tried to come up with some lies talking about you had gay African chieftains. They tried to say Shaka Zulu was gay. Like, it's like, why are you trying to shoehorn like our heroes and our pillars of our history to try to say all of a sudden these dudes are LGBT? Come on now. I mean, come on, because the people in commit wore makeup and stuff like that. I mean, come on, they wasn't gay. Those were masculine men. That was just their customs at that time. Okay.
It's like it never ceased with us. It always got to be something with us, yo. How many people go through this?
Because that stuff started in Europe. It started with them Greeks and it started with them Romans, okay? When they were sleeping with boys, when you had all those aristocrats and those emperors, they used to have those little palaces where they used to go off in those pools and sit in the pools and let little 10-year-old boys swim around and bite them and stuff like that. And it was custom where you had kings and emperors back then that had boy lovers, like Alexander the Great. He was gay. He was bisexual, okay?
Times may be going forward technologically, but we're going back in time, yo. This is crazy. Look what's being presented to us. This is not. It's still a lot of people living traditional lifestyles. So why are you trying to force? It's too much. It's just too much for the average person. I can't watch a TV show without saying this. This is not life. I don't see this every day walking around. So why are you trying to make this normal?
Because it's their normal. That's the life they want to live. So they're going to keep on pushing it and pushing the agenda. Majority of the producers, people who making these films, they're into that lifestyle. They're into it. People in the record industry, they're into these things. So of course they're going to push it as much as possible so they can be comfortable living the lives that they want to live.
Because it's in them. I mean, and I'm not saying every white person is into that lifestyle, but if that's your culture, if that's your history, and then on top of that, we talking about Roe v. We ain't on top of that, we talking about Roe v. Wade. I mean, and then, hey, let's kill two birds with one stone. Hey, if we dying off and our numbers are shrinking, let's take some of them with us. Okay.
All the time.
Let's create a way for them to take away the ability for them reproducing themselves. Okay. Because
slavery just around the corner. That's what we got to realize. They passed. Right. They getting rid of laws 50 years. They've been in the books for 50 years. What's gonna make them think we can't go back to being slaves? They got nothing but conservatives on the Supreme Court. What their ideology is. They going after everything. See, one thing about white folks, they not looking for instant gratification. They got a 30, 40, 50-year plan.
Yeah.
It's just like I had this conversation with Tina earlier about Baltimore. I say, look, Baltimore all our lives been 70% black. It's down to 63%. I said by 2030, Baltimore is going to be all white. The census telling you this. It's a grand plan.
The gentrification of it all. Well, because you got to understand, like if you look at South Africa during their apartheid, see when whites become the minority, then pretty much their rule becomes more aggressive. Okay. Right. And see what you just pointed out to with those people on the Supreme Court. Okay. Again, as their numbers shrinking down, they know America right now, they're in an apartheid state. So they have to move aggressively. This is why you're seeing the gentrification in Baltimore and stuff like that, like the skyrocketing and the cost of living and rent and mortgage and stuff like that. So they have to move aggressively now.
Right. We got a comment. He said they used to believe that warriors get strength from sleeping with boys. I seen that to be true when I was in Afghanistan. And he also said, just look how China is doing in Africa. But man, from what I'm seeing, us black people are becoming extinct, man. We really is in real time. We really are.
The thing is like it's a lot of us out here, okay, but it's a lot of us dying off.
Right.
The problem is, again, I keep alluding to it. It's just like when somebody when the overwhelming, when the ruling majority start to become the minority, and it's like, again, they are fearful now. Okay, so this is why they being aggressive, like with Miss Tina, what they doing in the school system. They pretty much gangstering it, because watch, in about another year, they ain't even gonna ask for no parental they just gonna gangster. Yeah, they just gonna do it. And it's like, look, if you don't teach it, you fired. So it's like they gonna get real aggressive with it. They gonna get hyper aggressive with it. So that's their point.
But we seen this at the January 6th. What's the first thing they did? Mess with the Roten virus. They are being aggressive because 2044 is for real.
Yeah.
They will be the minority. They're not playing. They are not playing. They passing these laws. The Supreme Court is their law and order. It's not for us. And they getting rid of everything that ain't traditional, put it like that.
Right. So again, they doing everything they can to preserve their numbers. Like,
but hear me out. This was all part of the Trump plan in his second term, but they're doing it with Biden there because Biden ain't got the juice. He ain't got the juice. Trump, this is why I say he was a genius. This was a 20 to 30 year plan, and Trump was going to be the guy to push this agenda along. The bigot, the racist. And with his people in charge, nobody was going to stop him.
He already got his people in there with like Matt Kavanaugh and all. And then, Clarence Thomas ain't going nowhere no time soon. So,
right.
I mean, again, I mean, it's just where we at with it right now. I just think Black folks, especially like what Miss Tina said, men and women, man, forget what happened in the past, man. It's like we can't blame each other now. It's like we need each other more than ever, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I will say this, I said it earlier in this conversation. Like if you want to start a real revolution, and start with the nuclear Black family, man, and together in unison. Okay, let's forget. Hey, listen, man, we passed about what started the single mother or the absentee father trend. Forget about what started. Where we go here from now? Because right now we are at war. Okay,
Exactly.
We're at war. Okay, and they're pretty much they passing us as adults. They're going after our children. Okay,
Right.
they're going after our babies. Okay,
and a lot of people may hate this dude. Charleston White been prisoners for 2 years.
Yeah,
they're going after the kids.
They're going after the kids.
Right.
You know,
and that's why he say, I can't help no grown ass man. I can't help him, but I can try to get these kids.
Right.
And it's the grant, and he's telling the truth. Y'all may not like how his message is perceived, but he's playing mind games with y'all. I'm being a comedian and I'm trolling you like a rapper, dude, but you ain't saying nothing about the rapper that's going around here killing and saying the same thing. I'm doing the same thing to the rapper, but I'm talking to him. Mm-hmm. But you hate me, but you love him. Like, man, genius.
To be honest with you, Charleston White kind of remind me of, like, he's more of a raunchy version of Dick Gregory. He kind of
that's exactly who he is.
He kind of remind me of Dick Gregory, man. That's how Dick Gregory used to be. Like, Dick Gregory could be comical, but at the same time, he could fly off the handle and go in on you. You know what I'm saying? And he was intelligent. And see, that's people don't understand how intelligent that man is because he do all the other antics and stuff like that. But again, like I said, man, we need women, black men and women. We need each other more than ever.
And like the person said in the chat, we need more self accountability and morality. But man, ain't no more morality no more. Ain't no more moral principle, man. That shit out the window. We got women that want to be naked.
Right.
They not. That's my thing with this new era women. Us guys are stupid. Sell sex appeal. Don't sell sex. That's how you get a husband. Sex appeal.
Right. Right.
They don't even want that now.
Exactly. Ain't nothing more to me. This is to me. Ain't nothing more sexier than a woman in a business dress. I don't want to see a naked woman. If I see you naked all day, why the fuck I want to see you naked in bed? I see you all day naked.
Claire Huxtable was sexy.
Exactly.
She didn't have to dress provocative. You know what I'm saying? She would come in with that. Listen, I used to, as a little kid, I used to be like, when I used to see Claire Huxtable come in with that briefcase and them high heels on.
And to this day, she's still sexy.
Right.
She's still sex appeal. My man, the comment, we got another comment. They say, yes, being a hoe is very popular, but it only gets you but so far. Because if you're 30 years old, you ain't going to beat that girl coming out of high school and college. You wash. So how long can you go being a hoe?
But all this started with Kim Kardashian. All it took is one video. Mm-hmm. And this changed how women view everything now. All they got to do is do one simple thing and it's going to change their life. Mm-hmm. Look at this lady. This lady is a millionaire from selling sex.
Yeah.
She has a TV show, and the TV show been on over a decade.
Right. And it just,
it's out there now. It's like everything is about sex. Like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I love artists like Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B, but it's pretty much soft porn. That's all. I've never seen so many. All they do is shake all day long, and all they do is telling younger girls to do the same thing.
But it's to the point because it's corny. Because everybody ain't gonna get popping like that.
And then, but then follow the trail. Cardi B is married, correct?
Yeah, with 2 kids.
Like, didn't that dude? What's the cat name she married to? I forgot his name.
Offset.
Yeah, I seen the video where she was talking about how she got the WAP or whatever like that. Then Offset put a video of her showing her cleaning up. Like, she do what now? And they got her in the kitchen sweeping. So,
but once again, they're selling these kids false images, man.
Yeah.
Meg Thee Stallion, the top chick in the game. What you doing twerking? Tell these young girls how you got it going to school. You can't just show us one way. You can't.
Well, again, it goes back to what and Tina be knocking it out the park. You know, if it's Tina knocking it out the park, it goes back to the parents. Like, again, remember when we used to listen to what we listened to, our parents used to tell us, now listen, you do know this is a story, right? This is fiction. Now, we don't mind you listening to stuff, but this is fiction. Okay? Like the parents got to step in and say, hey, listen, I'm not going to, I can't control what type of form of media you listen to, but I will tell you this, baby girl. Listen to it, but you got to understand this is not the way. Okay?
But there's no more boundaries no more.
It's not. No parameters.
The parent listens to the same shit the kid listening to. The parent doing what the kid doing. So,
right.
Who is it in the house to say this ain't real? Who in the house?
Yeah, because grandma, she want her time to shine too because she ain't have it before.
Oh yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
You got grandma out there, so her and her daughter, they wearing the same outfits.
Yeah.
I've been gone.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I seen an older woman today with a blonde wig on, and I'm saying to myself, boy, she done wrecked a household or two in her day. I know she done wrecked somebody's household.
She the grandma on the side, you know?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that, I mean, it's sad. I mean, and that's the thing. It's penetrating our homes. And again, when the parents and the grandparents own this type of big, you got grandma out there twerking, and she talking about hot girl summer and stuff like that. And I mean, but let's just be honest with ourselves too. It be these grandmothers that want to keep their daughters and granddaughters single because they never found happiness in a man.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they promoted themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, remember, our grandmothers listened to Mahalia. They grandmamas listened to Meg Thee Stallion.
Right. We got a comment in the chat. Some of these parents are dressing like their daughters. They are partying with them all before they're legally old enough to be doing these things. True.
Because
their children are their friends. That's the problem. That's why the boundaries is gone, because you treat your daughter like your girlfriend.
And
you treat your sons like they're your homeboy.
Yep.
That has to stop.
Some of these women treating their sons like they their man.
Now that's another problem. Now that's another topic. We need that's a whole nother show right there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Trying to dress them up like the rappers they fell in love with back in the day. You know,
or the dope boy that their father was, you know.
And see, that's where that father figure is supposed to step in, and we draw the line and say, hell no, we ain't doing this shit up in here. You know what I'm saying? That's what again, I don't tolerate that shit in my household. Like I tell my daughter to this when she was younger, she would never had this conversation no more, but I used to tell her, I'm not your friend, I'm your father. It's a difference. I would never be your friend. I'm your father. Okay? And don't you ever forget that. Your friends is what you bullshit and you do your thing with. I don't do your thing. I said we have a father-daughter relationship. That's it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and little man, like I'm in his life. I'm saying, listen, dude, hey, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I ain't your homie. I ain't this, I ain't that. But it's great that you call me dad. I'm honored because I ain't forced you to call me dad. Right. But I'm gonna be that guy that you respect because I'm gonna be that guy that's gonna be here to protect you. Okay. Right. I'm gonna be here for you. I'm gonna show you. I ain't gotta tell you things. I'm gonna show you it through example on how a man's supposed to conduct himself.
Right.
You know?
And that's another thing. That's why a lot of these. That's why I say we in bad shape, because women don't know how to be women no more, and men don't know how to teach their sons to be men. We messed up, yo.
But it goes, matter of fact, I'm not going to say it goes back to grandma. It goes back to great grandma. Mm-hmm. Because that's where the ball was dropped. Mm-hmm. Because you have a lot of older women who don't know how to cook, who don't know how to clean. Some people, and this is what bothers me the most, people are not raising their children to be husbands and wives. Yep. They're not even teaching them how to function in life. They just living.
Yeah. Yeah.
just like after slavery, when Miss Ann and them had land down in North Carolina, they didn't want their children to move up north because they wanted to keep them ignorant. They wanted to keep them with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now you got generations of people who just
lost.
Yeah. I mean, just gone, lost to the game, man. And again, don't. I mean, they don't. Again, like, and I tell you what played a part in that. Okay, where like I know a lot. This guy might be unpopular, but he basically listen. If rather if people agree with him or not, a broken clock is right twice a day. Kevin Samuel said it best when it comes to tradition and family household. He said what slavery couldn't do, what Jim Crow couldn't do, feminism has done.
Exactly.
Okay, so again, like, yeah, we did when that came into play. Yeah, it was teaching women, how to, we don't have to take this shit from no man. You don't have no. What you mean not be traditional? Like, but then on top of that, we got dudes out here that wow. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, like, I look at some of these dudes, like, man, the best part of you boy is on the pillowcase.
Hey, I told two women that I was like, look, I'm a traditionalist. They looked at me kind of crazy. I'm like, look, I'm not for all that crazy stuff. Social media, I'm a traditionalist. They was like, oh, you're a rare breed. But I was like, that's how I was raised. I grew up with a mother and a father in the house. That's what I seen. It's hard. I swear to God, it's hard meeting a woman with an ideology like that now, man. I'm trying to tell you, I'm out here and I'm talking to women. They be like, I just rather just date. Motherfucker, you 30. What you gonna do at 30? You can't compete with the young girl.
Yeah, and you talking about you just dating at 30. You want to date. Well, you gotta understand that clock is already ticking tops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you about to hear the Undertaker theme music. You know what I'm saying?
And on the real, at 25, because these young girls coming out of high school.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I mean, but again, you got to go by the example. Like I'm a traditional man, and like I've learned from the example of my father. Like I'm the first one up and out the door, and I'm the last one home. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's how it normally goes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm up before everybody. I'm out the door before everybody thinking about opening their eyes. And by the time I come home, everybody damn near ready to go to sleep.
Right. Because
so they know.
I check on her no matter what. If I don't hear from her in a couple of days, I'm going over her house. I'm checking.
Right. I mean, you got to offer that some form of protection as a man.
Right. And that's it. But yo, we're going to wrap this up. This was good. Oh, I ain't going to hold you too long because we normally go 2-3 hours. But, go ahead and wrap this up.
Well, it was truly a pleasure being on here. And, this is my last thing about it. Like I said, I love everybody. Just leave the kids alone. That's all. Let them be kids. Let them enjoy being kids. There's only one time.
Yeah, let them be kids. Go ahead. Oh, you got last words?
Hey, it was a pleasure being, as always, Tavon. It was a pleasure, Miss Tina. It was definitely a pleasure meeting you and speaking with you. Hey, you was knocking it out the park. I couldn't agree with you more. Everything is like that old saying. What you just said, you was knocking it out the park tonight.
Man, you know what? I feel like we was stuffed Dre and Clay, boy. We was the Warriors. I'm gonna do this one more time when something big come up. But ladies and gentlemen, this is a special episode. No pad, no pencil. We ain't hating on nobody's lifestyle. We just leave the kids alone. I'm all for talking about this. If the kid in middle school and high school, talk about the sex education. And if you don't, if you want us to comment, go in the comment section. Just tell us your point of view, where to start from, because that's what I want to know. Where do you start from? Honestly, for the LGBT curriculum, where do you start from? And on that note, we out of here, y'all. That was good, y'all. Thank y'all.